Right, so we're going to do a spot of glass blowing today. Sorry if the focus is a little soft here. You are currently wearing these, so if the camera were properly white balanced, everything would look kind of like that. But you've actually got them on, it's been white corrected, so everything doesn't look pink. And the reason that you need those specs on is because once glass, borosilicates, what we're going to be working with today, gets up to about 300 degrees, it starts putting off sodium ions which ionize, and they give off a very strong orange colour, and that will be utterly blinding. In fact, it might be bad even with the camera as it stands. So you need those glasses, and I'll need those later. Where's mine? I'll be using these boys, I like these. So, what's the task? I've got to take something like that and make it into something like that. This is one I made earlier. It's not the prettiest piece of glass blowing by a long way, but it's pretty precise, right? This is actually an optical window here. Drops of sodium come out of there, and this basically allows you to get a microscope really close to those drops such that you can see it reacting with water vapor coming in here, and then the sodium drops drop out the bottom. This is all under vacuum, of course, and then later on you can just take the waste sodium off the bottom, and that's where you attach the vacuum. Now in principle, what I want to do is I want to make something like this, but with a window where I can actually see in the infrared. Borosilicate glass like this is black to the infrared, so you need an optical window, and I'm going to be using a calcium fluoride optical window. Now in principle I could put one on here, but I want something where the water gas is coming in from the side, and I know what this looks like at the moment. I want to do exactly the same thing with the infrared. So sadly, I've got two choices. I can trash this piece of kit and make the infrared one out of this, or I can just make another one for infrared, one for microscopy. I'm going to make one for microscopy. So, some basic stuff. First of all, you need some oxygen. So this is my oxygen generator wheezing away in the background, and there's oxygen now coming out of there. What an oxygen generator does is it's like some clay. You can press air onto it, and then you let the pressure off, and the oxygen selectively deabsorbs or selectively stays on. I forget which one it is. The nice thing about the oxygen generators is you don't have to worry about having the high pressure oxygen. If you've got a high pressure oxygen cylinder, and a high pressure hydrogen cylinder, so for instance, you can get a fairly decent explosion out of those if it's not set up properly. With an oxygen generator, I've only ever got a fraction of a bar of oxygen here. There's a limit to what can actually go wrong. Now, at some point, the first thing I'm probably going to do is just put a tail on there. I'm just going to join those two together like that. Now, to do this, if I'm just heating up a little bit of glass here, it's no real problem. I'll be able to hold this. Glass is a pretty good insulator. You know, I can melt this here and probably hold it about here somewhere. With the bigger the piece of glass, the more awkward that gets. You can't really hold things above 70 degrees Celsius. Your fingers just get burned. So we're going to have to basically get a handle on both sides. Another thing is, at the moment this has some grease on it. You can see the grease on the join. That's bad news. If this gets really hot, the grease will basically fuse the two pieces of glass together. So I could get all the grease off here. And another thing you have to be very careful of is when the glass gets hot, if these joints are dry, when they're put together, they fit together better when they're hot, and then when it cools, it puts huge forces on here and it just cracks the glass. So it's really important that there's a spacer in there, which I'll deal with shortly. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean all the grease off of my join here, or at least yeah, 99 point something % of the grease. I'm just rubbing it on my t-shirt here, and so now he's cleaned up all the grease. That's nice. I'm probably going to use this as a handle. Now, if I'm going to use this as a handle, it's pants as a handle if I can't hold it very well. So I probably need to stick a tube on there. It doesn't need to be pretty, almost anything will do. I'm going to yeah, it really doesn't need to be pretty, this. It's right, so I'm going to cut a piece of glass. About there is probably about right. It needs to be long enough for me to hold it, yeah. So about there, I reckon. But I can always cut it down a bit. So you put a scratch on the glass, lick the glass, break it away from you, boom. Now, I'm going to turn this into a handle, so I'm going to melt that down, join that on, and I'm going to do a bit of blowing from one side, which means I will need a cork. Have a cork for this one? I think I do. That's rather lucky. Perfect. Cork is great because it might burn a little bit, it doesn't matter. Charcoal you can always burn off later. So, right, let's do it. Let's get to it. So, I'll get me a flame on. This is all, takes a while for the oxygen generator for its purity to come up. Oxygen generators, by the way, that's a bit much. You can get them on eBay for a few $100. Expensive, but the thing is that when you get into oxygen cylinders, it's very easy to just forget about them, leave them on, and you can basically, it's a pain in the ass to get a refill on an oxygen cylinder. Okay, right. So you get a little bit of carbon deposition when you start. Now what I'm going to do is, it doesn't really matter where I do it. I'm just going to melt a bit here. Doesn't matter what these are. I'm stick that on there. So I'm going to play out here. This will be fine. It's easier. Ooh, shit. So there's something filling up with. Okay, that's fine. I'll keep this small if I can. Okay, it's blown out. Perfect. Ideally, you don't want to get these little bits of glass, thin glass everywhere. But what did I do with my piece of glass that I want to join on there? Come down somewhere. Ah, there he is. Super. Right. Just going to join the two together, melt them all up, push them together for a few seconds. There we go, it's good. Stick the bung in, melt it all up. Done. My cork isn't sealing very well. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Bit of blowing, bit of pulling, and this is only a handle. Bear in mind, I'm not going to I don't really care about this really at all. Okay, it's about now he's solidifying. That's good. Take that out. So now I can use that as a handle for this, but you'll recall that I want to make sure that I don't want these two things to stick together here. I'll leave that to cool down for a few seconds. And whilst that's cooling down, I should have some either asbestos, which is basically just glass, or graphite tape. Either would be fine in this instance. And I think I've got some glass fibre here. Perfect. So this is just a piece of glass fibre. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick that in the join, and what that does is it's going to graphite would be better actually. There's some graphite. I'll show you the general idea first. Anyway, so you basically just stick something in the join like that, and it stops it from seizing up too much. Let's see if I can find some graphite. So it's got to be jammed in there hard enough that it doesn't fall out, but not jammed in there so hard that it never comes unstuck. Where the hell is my graphite tape? Okay, we might be. Actually, I'll tell you what else I can do that works quite well. Just a piece of tissue. I'm going to go for tissue. Tissue's pretty good. That's good. That's a bit thick. Layer of tissue should do it. Half layer of tissue. Super. So, what I'm going for now is a piece of tissue. Stick it in there. That's perfect. Good. And this is almost now getting down to the point where I can touch it. It's still hot. This is one of the things you learn very quickly with glass blowing is things that look normal can often be at several hundred degrees. Right, so I've got to be able to blow hard enough on this to blow out here, but not so hard that it just blows the whole flask off. Good, so we're almost to the point where we can do the next join, which is going to be this one. And so what we're going to do, we're going to cut this off about here somewhere, join that on there, and what else are we going to do? We need to be able to stop this thing up and such that we can blow. Oh, good. It turns out there's a lot of improvisation with glass. Well, there's a lot of improvisation when I do glass blowing. So we're going to have to cut this off. There's me choppers. There's me chopper. I'm after me. I need the scratchy thing, which I put down somewhere and now can't see it all. In there somewhere? Well, if all else fails, I just use a regular glass knife. Ah, there we go. There's at least one. Alright, let's hope that he's not too blunt. So I reckon about there is probably decent. Oh, and he is. He's very blunt, this one. Seriously? Sorry about this. Oh, there we are. Let's use a glass knife. So, glass knife. Let's put decent scraps on that. There we go. Well done. Ugly, but functional. Alright. Now, what we're going to need is a nice hot piece of glass. That'll be fine. I just use thermal shock to do the cracking. Boom. Boom. Okay, done. Alright. So I'm going to warm this up a little. You can be pretty bold with, you know, properly relaxed glass. If the glass has all sorts of stresses in, you're going to be very gentle when you're heating it up, but at the moment, it's not so bad. Alright, this is probably the first tricky bit that we come into. Number one, let's even this play out. There's not a good cut on this one. Whatever. Yeah, the sort of glassware I'm making, it's going to see one or two experiments. Yeah, I'm not making this stuff for, if I was making it for the long game, I'd put a lot more effort into this. There we go, starting to dimple out. He's not straight either. Seriously? Yeah, this is royally fucked up. Oh. That's more like it. There we go, much better. Lovely. You can always straighten it up a bit afterwards. It's easier doing this, I should stress, when there isn't a camera right next to you. You just get a little more space and you're more relaxed. You don't have to rake everything and whatnot. You gotta be a bit careful with this doesn't fill up with gas, otherwise it'll go bang and scare the living crap. You know, like the little explosion earlier? You get those, just much bigger. Right, so I'm just had a bigger flame. I'd do this all in one, but I don't, so I'm stuck with whatever we got. Okay, I think that's more or less sealed. Yep, feels like a seal. So now I'm just going to melt it up in little portions. Flat out a little. In many ways it'd be easier if I was doing this on the other end, but whatever. Ooh, it's getting hot in the fingers. So much functional. Well, it is functional at the moment. It's just, oh, it's hot. Oh. a little puff, a little pull, and if you pull glass it straightens out. I'm going to screw that up. Okay. Just got to pull, make sure it's straight. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. I can do better. It's a fraction of a degree off. Okay, that's pretty decent. Yeah, it's good enough for me. Sense doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so this is going to be incineratingly hot. Make you squawk if you touch it at the moment. So, I'm going to put that somewhere to cool. Right, over there. And whilst that's cooling, we're going to do a little work on the next piece. We need one side arm that we can... This is just glue, by the way, this is just epoxy here. So we're going to need a side arm who's actually going to be fairly chunky. Yeah, chunky, like about that sort of style, chunky. And the reason it needs to be chunky, you'll see later. I'm gonna flatten all this out. You melt it all down, you push it onto a piece of graphite, and it flattens it all out, and then you can glue stuff onto it. But for this, I really will need my real cutter. I need a sharp cutter for this. Oh, there he is. See there all along? Right, I can't remember which one's the sharp one now. Not that one by the feel of things. Can't tell. That one. This is the sharp one. Good. So, I'm just going to clean out the crap off the glass, off the outside. I'm going to go for about there, I reckon. That's perfect. Now I could probably just break this like I did previously, just by pulling it, but in this case I'm going to go for the heat cracking trick again. Perfect. Done. Right. Now, we've got to narrow this guy down a bit. Make a nice join. Oh, it's going to be tricky joining these. One of the downsides of the oxygen generator, I'm on full oxygen power at the moment. That's a lie. Now I'm on full oxygen power. If you've got a cylinder, you can get as many atmospheres out of it as you want. I can't, because oxygen generators will only give you up to about somewhat over a bar of pressure. So it is enough for doing stuff like this. This is relatively small for glass working. Mate. Good. is what I'm going to join on to this boy. We're still nice and hot still. And we need a big one first. I think it probably makes sense to do the small one first, actually. Alright. We need another piece of glass. Oh, this one's going to be tricky. And it's the wrong... Oh no, there's the connection I need. Good. Okay, the piece of glass that I need is currently attached to something else. So I've got to cut him off. Something's burning on the inside of this glass. Okay, oil, I think. Right, there. Okay, about the rest. Hopefully we don't get too many files on the desk here. We'll see how it goes. Right. Good. This is the tricky bit. Learn that small. Good. He's in good shape. It looks like I got bung for him as well. Super. So we are looking in better and better shape. So let's warm this boy up again. And in the first instance. Right, so it gets progressively more and more committed as you get further and further on here. That if you screw up later on, it gets harder to pull it back. You screw up early on, it's like, whatever. You screw up later on, you basically throw everything away. Also gone for it there. Perfect. So I mean, you'll be careful you don't fill up the glassware with an explosive mixture of gas. That's generally bad. Bad news bears. Seal, good. Toasty. Toasty. I'll sort it out. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's good enough for me. It's not quite straight, not in the right place, but like I was saying, I can tolerate some imperfections in this. The only ones that really have to be in the right place are the window. And even that's got some flexibility in all of it. Right, so now we've got two. That's straight. That's straight enough. These are relatively easy to straighten anyway. Especially at this point, just warm them up a little, pull them a little. I could, if I was keen, I could move it up, you know, a few millimeters. But I'm not that keen. So I'm going to make sure I get this basically the right way around. So I want the next one. Vacuum comes out towards me. The glass is getting really hot now, by the way. I wouldn't be able to touch it here. You can even see that it's starting to burn the paper on the inside. Let's check that we're still recording. We are still recording. Super. See how we're doing. Like I was saying, you get less chance to screw things up as you go along. Should have gone for it. And didn't quite blow it out enough. But good enough. Good. Alright. This needs to be widened a little. I will need a piece of graphite. Oh. Again, not perfect, not pretty, but probably good enough to be functional. It's perfectly functional. Okay, that was a bit of a gamble because I don't have a bung on here, so I can't blow at the moment. And it is super hot. I've got to keep it hot because until it's all even out, it will crack incredibly easily. Oh, too hot to hold. Too hot to hold. No, the right bung. This is a nightmare. And it's not a seal either. Well, that's bad news. Right, let's see if I can find a suitable stopper. And the answer is no. Oh, the importance of being prepared. That looks helpful. That's very close. Gotcha. Good. So we're blocked up now. I can, in principle, blow. Good. Be a bit careful when you go back in the plane, because it'll likely crack. Yeah, this glass that's put together like this is super susceptible to cracking. But I think that was it cracking. Maybe not, we'll see. Alright. Let's see what we can do about evening some of this out. It's getting really, really difficult to hold this at the moment. So hot. Okay, this looks good. I'm going to transfer my grip, but it's getting difficult to find somewhere that's, oh shit, it's going inside. Maybe it wasn't. Ow. Good point. I might have to take a break. Just let it cool down a bit. Another thing I could do is, can't see what I'm doing. I can't tell if there's a hole in the kit. If there's a hole in the kit, it's bad. Oh, there's a hole in the kit. Okay, I see it now. That's bad news, because that means you fill the kit up with gas. Right, so I might be better off under these circumstances blowing through this one, because I can see what I'm doing better that way. For this, I will need good. So now I can blow through this one instead, which means I can see what I'm doing better. It's all about being able to see what you're doing while you're blowing. That's where the hole is. It's opening. Right. So this is far, far, far from optimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it up with a little piece of glass. In fact, I think I can do it with this. Yes. Might be just about perfect. see the hole. There it is. This is a really ugly way of doing glass, but once I get a seal, it'll all even out fairly nicely. Get a seal. That might be okay. Seal, good, we're done. Okay. That's nice. You don't run the risk of blowing up the kit once you get a seal. So now it's all heated up, even it out. A little gentle blowing, all evens out. That's almost good enough for me. Like I was saying. Yeah, so times like this you gotta be really careful. You just don't end up screaming, grabbing the wrong piece of glassware, screaming and dropping the whole damn thing. Because basically at the moment the whole thing is way, way, way too hot to hold. And we're approaching, he's been happy with us. Just needs a little straightening and I'll be good to go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. 190 degrees. That's pretty close. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Yep, I'm happy with that. Right, so now what I'm going to do is what I did with the other one. I've got to cut that off, melt the plate on, melt it down so it's a bit flat, then I can glue something on there. And then the last bit, which is the super ballsy bit, is I've got to flatten down this round bottom flask. It's actually trickier than it sounds. And then I've got to blow a hole in it, even all that out, which is super, super tricky. And then at some later point I can glue on the infrared window to it. So it's been a while since I did one of these flattening guys, so I'm going to do a bit of practice because I am not by a long way God's gifted to glass blowing. So I'm going to need some graphite plates. Right, so there you go, graphite plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt it down, push it onto the graphite plate, and if I've done it, if I get it done, if I do it right, I'll end up with something that is good for, actually, right, I'm going to do a bit of annealing on the glass. What tends to happen is the glass gets really hot in one place, it cools down quicker in one place than another, it gets kind of stressed. and that means that when you heat it up the next time, it's got a propensity of cracking, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to heat the glass up. You can't see it at the moment, but there's a healthy orange glow coming off all of the glassware at the moment, which is about the temperature you need for annealing. If I can see it, I see some opaqueness in the glass. That basically means that there's a load of stress there, and now it's gone. So after that, you can just let it cool down a little, and now when I heat it up the next time, there's much less chance of it actually cracking. Good. So I want to try make a flat flangey thing. Now the reason I didn't do the flat flangey thing first is because if I had, I've only had a short little bit to join it to the other thing, and the whole piece of glass would have gotten so hot that I wouldn't have been able to hold this, which means that I wouldn't have been able to straighten it out or hold it or do anything, or I'd need to have put a handle on it or something, and it would have got very, very, very complicated. So I need my glass cutter, sharp one, which is this one. Stuff is too thick. If I was a brave man, I could probably break it without the heat shock thing, but there. Right. So when I come to do this, I'm only going to get one chance at it, okay? Which is why I'm doing a little bit of practice. It's been a while since I've done this, and I want to make sure no cock-ups. And it looks like I will need a bigger flame. So let's see if this will do it for us. Ooh, that does sound aggressive. That's more like it. Good. So I want it to get it all even and peachy. Not sure what this actually looks like. Okay, that's about right. And then you push them onto the. Oh, it's easy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you get all nice and even and peachy, and then you just push onto the graphite. Okay, I'm happy I can do that. Good. Yeah, it's not bad. And then afterwards, yeah, you just get the whatever, the little springy bit that connects you to the high vacuum, and you just use some high vacuum epoxy to glue the two together. Right, so this doesn't even have to be particularly close, doesn't it? This glass is still incineratingly hot. You know, you touch this almost anywhere and it'll be instant burn, instant screech, instant dropping the glass. Yeah, this glassware is incineratingly hot. So, right, let's see what we can do. I need something like that. Feeling just uncomfortable holding it where I'm holding it. Good. Perfect. Right. I'm also going to have to be doing some blowing here because I don't want to fill. Yeah, it's the same problem as before. You don't want to fill the glassware up with gas if you can avoid it. Yeah, this is the tricky bit. you just can't hold the glass. I might have to wait for it to cool down. I just can't hold it, it's too hot. Or I'll tell you what I can do, which will speed things up a bit. I need some tissue paper, some water, and you just put some wet tissue paper where you want to hold it. And hope that does the trick. Good. It does. I have to. Okay, I'm almost there. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to go for it. There we go. It's not straight, but I think it's good enough. Let me get my little springy thing. Okay, I'm going to be bold. Going to be bolder. Right, so that's what we're going to glue it onto. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bit where I screwed it up, this bit, and I'm just going to open them up a bit, just a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to have one more shot at this. Oops. There we go. And again, it's not straight. It's ugly in the way it's not straight, but it will provide a satisfactory join for the metal. So that, I'm going to call him good. I can see the stress in the glass here, so I'm just de-stressing the glass a bit. Now comes the almost impossible bit. Right, this I've just never done before. So blown a hole in a flask and trying to get it flat enough that you can put an optical window on it. What size does it need to go on? Needs to go on my side. Now I'm going to have to block that one up somehow. I've got no idea how to do that. Tricky. I don't know how to do this. Without being able to block that up. I might be in the game where I have to. No, I've had a bung that would do it, but the thing is, it's not a regular shaped hole anymore. And then again, I don't need a perfect seal. I think I might just have to chop a bung down and that's what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to chop a bung down and rely on it. It doesn't have to be a great seal, it just has to be good enough to allow me to blow out a hole in the kit. So let's see what this will do for us. I need a knife or a scalpel or something. I need a blade. That looks helpful. Perfect. One scalpel. Just needs chopping off on one side. And if we're lucky, it will mostly be a seal. It's good enough. It's good enough. Which now means we're going to blow out a hole on this side. This is where it gets super tricky. Super tricky. I'm going to need my glass specs back on. In principle, flattening it out should be fairly easy. It should sort of spontaneously do that all by itself. Kind of where we're at now. More heat. That's good. How could it blow all that out? Oh, this is difficult. Do this. What a glass. Never done anything like this before. Well, I guess you just gotta give it a go and hope for the best. Let's try. And I think I might be perfect. More by luck than judgment. Like I said, I've never done it before. Carefully don't burn yourself, Phil. Nice piece of glass to chip all the stuff off with would be nice. I think that's perfect. go to flat, and that would be awesome. And I'm burning my fingers here, I can tell. Actually, that my only question is, did I make it too big? Please, please, please don't be too big. It's almost perfect. Oh, I touched the glass. I got so lucky then. That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. I think I'm not going to be any bolder than that at all. I don't know whether this will survive, but in the meantime, what we are going to do is do a spot of annealing on the glass. And for those, I ditch my glasses and go for regular ones. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. It's quite normal that everything ends up getting a little bit singed, a little bit toasty. Good. And with that, I think we are basically done. Super. Yeah, don't worry about it. A soot is just a nice way of it. The soot condenses everywhere at the same time. You've done a decent job cooling it down. Super. So, there you go. There's a little bit more jiggery pokery to do with it, but it's essentially done. So let's see how he compares to my previous version, which way around did they go? That way around. There you go. Matching pieces of kit. One with a hole, in which I'm going to glue an infrared window. Yeah, not bad. I'm happy with that. Okay, well, at that, I'm going to let everything cool down, and all I've got to do is put the window in place. That's quite exciting. And if this is too big, I can always melt this down a bit, but it gets progressively more fiddly to do. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, see you next time.